Now conceptually, this stone wall or foundation is supposed to be reflective of the mineral world, the world of stone. Now again, underneath the original rose window that we looked at, this next row of windows above the foundation are windows picturing primarily plants and animals. And I'll get in closely so you can see some evidence of that. Notice along the borders are flowers. And hopefully somewhere we'll see some animals. And this one in the lower left-hand corner. There in the third panel from the left, of course, a splay of flowers in a pot. No animals yet, unless those are little animals in there, like kittens or something. Oh, an animal. Go figure. Now we're looking opposite those windows on the other side of the church. And they might be ready to crank up the organ. Here we have a wolf or a dog. We'll skip to the next one. Nothing there. Anyway, in the construction, those windows represent the plant and animal or natural world as opposed to the mineral world. 3 medallions showing the human world at the top of each nature window, but I can't see any evidence of that anywhere. Looking at any of these panels, I see one, what you could call a medallion, only on the very top that we haven't even got to in this discussion are there 3 of anything that I can see. He does point out that just underneath the rose window and above these first row of windows, you may make out a cement walkway. The purpose of that is for maintenance of these windows. Again, he speaks in this area in such generality that you can't determine what it is that Steve's trying to talk about. But he says that there are windows here depicting the replicas of coat of arms of the nobles who funded the cathedral. I don't see any evidence of that, unless that's what those windows are, those little ones at the top of each arch of those sets of 4 sets of 2. These top windows, which are perhaps some of the finest expression of the concept behind the Gothic design, are tall, narrow windows that normally would not be able to survive such great expanses of glass were it not for the flying buttresses and high rising columns, etc. Those are of church individuals. The ones on this side are New Testament characters, and on the other side would be Old Testament characters. Were we curious enough to figure that out? Only above those do I see 3 medallions, if you want to call them that. And it's possible that they're depicting individual characters doing ordinary things, like writing there. Here I can't make it out, but maybe I can on a large screen. But here we'll let the camera run just so you can appreciate this overall effect. And I'll pan a little bit to show that there's much more. This is on the south side. Again, it looks quite dark, dark enough that we can't see the individual stained glass content. Apparently, all of these pieces of glass and all of the glass in the entire church is under a massive restoration in which each piece is removed from its iron frame and replaced, cleaned and restored and replaced into a brass frame. Okay, now we're looking at the south side, which again should be the brightest, and to some degree it is, even though the sun's not shining. You don't really have to be a believer, nor do you have to really know what the content is to appreciate just the overall sense of beauty that that stained glass ensconced in hard stone gives. I remember the stained glass, beautiful stained glass, in a church in Edinburgh, Scotland, that was very pretty, but it was ensconced in large slabs of rock in order to hold that designed church up. It wasn't that awesome, light, airy, graceful, Gothic feel to it. I know of no real way to make an impacting video other than to let it run. This is, of course, the choir. And what I've not known was, you may be able to notice at the top here a curving out, which just looks like a canopy of architectural design, but in fact it serves the function of a sounding board. You know, perhaps kicking the sound further out into the church. I'm not quite sure how it does that. Also look at this pulpit piece, not the elegant Renaissance carved stuff by Leonardo or Michelangelo, but large. Again, we've seen a number of these over the years. It looks like these panels are of religious characters, like I think that's Ezekiel, Zacharias, Jonah, probably with either those inscriptions on whatever devices they're holding are indicative of them. Why this guy is holding somebody's head, I don't know, and that's the soldier holding St. John's head. But also notice these seats, which are in the up position, are still designed so they can rest their butt on something and they don't really have to stand up. Practical, but somewhat hypocritical also. I'll bet the average slob in the back seats didn't have that benefit. I wonder who the dudes were that got put in that little squirrely space there, not even a full seat. Or did anybody get there? Probably one of the nobles' mistresses. Here we'll pan up from this to show what the organ pipes look like. They're testing them out right now, apparently to make sure that the sound can be heard well. Here we're looking at the back, if that's in fact the way you say it, the west end of the cathedral. There's an altar up there also. Certainly you get a sense, more so than in other churches we visited, of the height of these walls, of those ceilings up there. They really are way up there. And with all that stained glass, it is the essence of Gothic design. Oh, that I could have shown this to kids in school.